We on? Wicked. Hi, I'm Lee Springs. I'm going to give you an interview of how I started, what I'm doing, and how I got there, basically. Yeah, let's roll. Let's do this interview.
How long and when did you first start making music?
I started around about '96. I started with an Atari ST, and I used a software package called Stereo Master, which was a pretty crude sampling package. Basically, you sampled sounds in, and you pasted them rather than sequenced them. But I kind of manipulated the program to do that. Sort of like around about the late '90s, around about '98. I teamed up with a guy called Aid, which was my neighbour at the time, and we started making tunes. And I got myself a 1040 and a copy of Cubase. I was using QY70, and I was using some old keyboards I had from like back in the day. So it was virtually a MIDI setup. I basically sort of like stemmed from there. I got myself a SPO8 sampler, like a groove sampler, a MoFat, a K-Station, Novation, and a Roland drum machine. And that's when it sort of really kicked off, really, making a bit more serious tunes. Later I got a PC at the time. I think it was a Pentium 2, but again it wasn't strong enough to sort of roll with sort of software internally. Back in them day, you'd have to, even the Macs at the time couldn't even cope with it, and plus the software instruments at the time were pretty wishy-washy. You had ones, I think you had a couple on Cubase. But what we did have, we was quite creative with, and being from a sort of hip-hop, stroke graffiti, with the rave music, everything, I've kind of always been into that sort of dance side of music, which is why I'm still doing it today, really. I've still got a big interest and a massive flair for it. Yeah, and where we are today is I've just recently bought, funny enough, a pad core control, and it's wicked. It's a real good fast controller for doing drums, and you can still sort of bang out some melodies on it. I've got a MIDI keyboard here, obviously, for doing stuff more in key. I've got a QY22, which I don't actually own. It is actually my neighbour's, but it might as well be mine because he's lent me it for ages now. Most of my outboard gear, if it's not underneath the bed, it's been sold. You don't really need it anymore. You've got, the software you've got today with things like Albert and Logic, Sample Tank. The list is endless. Even down to a compressor you don't even need. I use one called T-Rax, which is just, it's amazing, really. You're getting sort of like the equivalent of sort of grand's worth of technology, for hundreds of pounds. Without much waffle, we go into it. Just to show you, this is one track that is a remix, but it's a remix of my own stuff. If you look here on the screen, if you bring the camera a bit closer, I'm working, these are the main two softwares I work with. This is Logic, and I've just sort of snipped it into two halves on the screen. You might be able to hear this with the speakers. This is the original. I actually wrote this track about a week after my son was born, when my wife came out of the hospital. It was a track for relaxing, really. I was sort of on a project at the time of making music that was quite relaxing, and it is what it is, really. It's kind of a lot of influences from artists like Moby and Air that make quite alternate and sometimes relaxing music. If I just snip that a bit forward, so this is just the raw file within Logic of the actual original track. It sort of compromises of a piano, a synth track, and some waves, which I recorded a long time on holiday. And then when you're sort of talking the remix side of things, I use a program called Ableton Live, and again, it's just amazing what you can do with it. Here I've got, if I just strike that, this is a sample from what I've just showed you in Logic, and I'll now show you. I've actually like MIDI mapped it onto the keys of the pad control, just to show you how it's all put together. A synth track from my big archive of samples. it doesn't sound too synced up yet, but it's not meant to. I tried to get out that methodical sort of metronome type, sort of standard that a lot of dance artists use. I'm not really about that. I like it a little bit messy. The house beat, which is not mine again, it's probably off an old sample CD, but it works. I'm not really that into things where I have to, where it comes from. As long as it's royalty free and it's legal, it's cool with me. Although when I do remix, it's unsigned, and I'd never make money without the artist's permission, because for one, I wouldn't like it done to me, and it's just not on. Anyway, back to this track. I'll put a bit of percussion. As you can hear, it's slowly building up, and it's kind of like the original, but it's kind of a bit more. What's the word? The dance mix of it, rather than the other was. Sort of like for relaxing, for a different purpose. It's more of a dancing approach to it. Nice bass line that I used on another track. You can just hear that sort of gradually coming in. And then once you've got it like this, it's basically with Ableton Live, however you're mixing it live, it'll actually, if you hit that record button, it will record that live set for you. So it's just, honestly, the amount of time you save in making tunes and getting really what you're trying to put across, rather than back in the day when you was using Logic, it was sort of like drag, drop, go back, play it, no I don't like that, drag, drop, and it could go on forever. With Ableton Live, it's a whole new flex, and like I say, these two softwares for me is it's really just a perfect setup. And that's about it really. Working on a few more remixes. I've got a Lamb one out on YouTube at the moment, and I've got a Marvin Gaye one, and I think I've got an old dub reggae one that I'm currently working on as well, which I've got put a lot more time into. Generally, most tracks take about a week to actually start from raw, but then when you're actually mixing it down, now I'm using Ableton Live, you're talking half an hour. Literally, it's that quick, and it's cool. So thanks for watching my interview. I'm Lee Spring, this is what I'm doing, and hope you enjoy the music.